He died on the 10-year anniversary of his racist rants being leaked online.
Stop saying rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. His mother was racist.
Even after his death, many in the black community haven't held back their feelings about Hulk Hogan, with some openly saying they won't be mourning him.
We're not actually mourning this death, are we?
Another person was even more harsh and completely refused to show any sympathy.
And we supported the fuck out of him. He was a piece of...
One even went as far as to say that Satan himself was ready to receive him. These are the harsh reactions from black wrestling fans to Hulk Hogan's death, and some go far beyond what anyone could have imagined. The news hit social media like a thunderclap. Hulk Hogan was gone.
It was discovered at that time Terry Bollea, also known as Hulk Hogan, was experiencing a serious medical-related issue. Personnel provided medical treatment at that time and transported Mr. Bollea to Morton Plant Hospital, where he died at 11:17 a.m.
But instead of the usual wave of mourning, what followed was something never seen before in wrestling history. A large part of Black Twitter openly celebrated his death, sharing posts like, "Satan about to have his way with you, brother," which quickly gained hundreds of thousands of views and likes.
We supported the fuck out of him. He was a piece of... I did a sketch with him with Shaq. I met him through Shaq. That's before he said all this bull. And we were like Hulk Hogan fans.
To understand this intense reaction, we have to go back to 2015, when leaked audio from a 2007 sex tape exposed Hulk Hogan using racial slurs, including the N-word, several times. In that shocking recording, Hogan expressed anger over his daughter, Brooke, dating a black man, and even admitted, "I'm a racist," to a point. The fallout was immediate. WWE ended his contract and erased him from their Hall of Fame. What made Black America's response stand out was its absolute refusal to forgive. Unlike other celebrity scandals where time softens opinions, Hogan's 2015 remarks left a wound that never healed within the black community. Wrestling journalist Master Tizian, who attended Hogan's final WWE appearance in January 2025, described how deep that resentment ran. He said he joined the crowd in booing Hogan, admitting, "I never thought I'd see Hulk Hogan in person and end up booing him." The reaction also revealed a clear generational divide within Black America.
Saying rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. His mother was racist. I mean, if you racist, you can say rest in peace to him, but to people that ain't racist, because he was racist as fuck. Don't y'all know that's the reason why the WWE terminated his mother contract and his was removed from the Hall of Fame section? Don't y'all remember that SEX tape that was leaked about him?
This generational divide reflected a much larger cultural shift. As one commentator explained, younger Black Americans have become more outspoken and less willing to forgive, believing that once you cross a certain line with white America, they never forgive you no matter what you do. The logic behind it was blunt. If white America never forgave O.J. Simpson despite his acquittal, then why should Black America forgive Hulk Hogan for his recorded racist remarks? The contrast between racial reactions was striking. While conservative voices like Clay Travis mourned Hogan's passing, political commentator Roland Martin shared a meme of Hogan's own racist quotes with the caption, "Same guy." This moment went beyond the death of one man. It became a statement about accountability, history, and refusing to whitewash a controversial legacy. Perhaps the most emotional reactions came from black wrestling fans who had grown up idolizing Hogan. Kazim Famuide, co-host of the Ringer Wrestling Show, expressed this painful contradiction, saying that you never really got the sense that Hulk Hogan was truly sorry. That feeling of insincere apology echoed throughout the black wrestling community, where many believed his redemption was never genuine. The backlash also exposed deeper issues within wrestling itself. Freelance writer Lyric Swinton explained that black fans often felt they had to set aside their identity just to enjoy the sport, an uncomfortable truth made worse by Hogan's comments and WWE's long history of using racist tropes and storylines.
Oh, so if you don't mind me asking, why?
Hating.
Okay.
Yeah. The racism, bro.
Yeah.
It's just hard to forget how detailed that rant was.
The entertainment world, too, was split in its reaction. Some celebrities expressed sorrow and respect for Hogan's legacy as a wrestling icon, while others openly criticized the praise, reminding everyone of his past racist remarks. This divide showed how deeply Hogan's words had scarred not just fans, but an entire generation of entertainers who grew up watching him.
I don't wish anything on anybody. Death, I don't wish. But, how am I supposed to feel that a racist mother is gone? Is that process of elimination? It's like, hey, is that letting nature take care of shit? Didn't he get booed at one of those conventions or whatever? He got booed. He went out like a sucker.
The memory of Hogan's actions ran deep and remained unforgiving. Back in 2008, recorded jailhouse phone calls between Hogan and his son Nick revealed even more racist remarks, adding fuel to the 2015 scandal and convincing many that his behavior wasn't a one-time mistake but part of a larger pattern. His later efforts to redeem himself didn't change much. When WWE reinstated him into the Hall of Fame in 2018, The New Day, Trio Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods released a joint statement saying they were indifferent to his return and had no desire to associate with anyone who carried such a negative and harmful mindset. For many in Black America, the response to Hogan's death went far beyond one man. It was rooted in years of frustration with racism in wrestling, in entertainment, and in America itself. As commentator Bomani Jones noted, this was never going to be a moment for quiet mourning, because Hogan's words had left scars that couldn't simply fade with time. In the digital age, where his statements remain permanently accessible, Black America's reaction made one thing clear: some wounds, some words, and some betrayals can never truly be forgiven. This was never just about the death of a wrestling legend, it was about justice, memory, and the lasting cost of racist words in modern America. While Black America's reaction revealed deep racial wounds, the wrestling world had long been familiar with Hulk Hogan's controversies. Decades before the 2015 scandal, wrestlers across the industry had spoken out about Hogan's backstage politics, massive ego, and questionable behavior. The list of those who criticized or outright despised him reads like a who's who of wrestling icons, showing a consistent pattern that stretched far beyond one leaked recording. One of the most famous feuds was between Bret the Hitman Hart and Hogan, which dated back to the early 1990s and became one of the most documented rivalries in wrestling history. The breaking point came at WrestleMania 9 in 1993, when Hart lost the WWF Championship to Yokozuna, only for Hogan to rush in and win it moments later in an unscheduled match. Hart later revealed he had been told Hogan would drop the title back to him, but Hogan refused, cementing the tension between them and reinforcing his reputation as someone who always put himself first.
So I would just stand there like this with my hand out for about 20 seconds, and I just walked away, and I was like, yeah.
The depth of Bret Hart's resentment became clear in later interviews, where he didn't hold back. In one 2021 comment, he mocked Hogan by saying he didn't know a headlock from a headlamp. But Hart's anger went beyond personal dislike. It was rooted in professional disappointment. He felt that Hogan's self-centered attitude and refusal to help elevate other wrestlers hurt not only his career, but the integrity of the wrestling business itself.
I think what really was going on is that Hogan was putting a lot of pressure on Vince to take the belt and take it off me and put it on him. Otherwise, he was going to go to WCW. So I think it was our last. Vince just pulled the plug on.
Hogan's pattern of backstage manipulation became even more obvious with Shawn Michaels' experience. Their 2005 SummerSlam match was meant to be the first in a planned series, but Hogan allegedly used his backstage power to cancel any rematch, making sure he came out on top. Michaels' response became the stuff of legend. He spent the entire match overselling Hogan's moves in an exaggerated, almost cartoonish way, turning the bout into a public mockery of Hogan's ego.
A human wrestling fan is an easy thing to manipulate. God bless you. You know what I mean? But it was, it's not like, I'm just saying, it's not like I could have done that whole Larry King live thing and nobody in the WWE have okayed that. You know what I mean?
Perhaps the most damaging story came from The Undertaker, who recalled a 1991 incident where Hogan accused him of causing a neck injury with a tombstone piledriver. The Undertaker later explained that Hogan had completely fabricated the claim, as the footage clearly showed Hogan's head never touched the mat. That false accusation deeply affected The Undertaker, who said it made him question himself at the time, only to realize later that Hogan had used the story to manipulate sympathy and control his image.
It took a few days before I actually got to see the footage. His head never touched.
This incident cemented the belief among many wrestlers that Hogan was someone who would lie and twist situations for his own gain. The criticism wasn't limited to his in-ring politics either. CM Punk, one of wrestling's most outspoken figures, has been brutally open about his opinion of Hogan, once saying that he considered him a piece of garbage and a toxic presence in any locker room, even though the two had never actually worked together. Hogan's reputation took another major hit when stories resurfaced from the 1980s about his role in stopping efforts to unionize WWE wrestlers. When Jesse Ventura tried to organize a wrestlers' union, Hogan reportedly went straight to Vince McMahon and exposed Ventura's plans, effectively killing the movement and solidifying his image as someone more interested in protecting his own position than standing up for others.
I think Hogan's a piece of shit, so obviously I'm going to be like...
Scott Steiner has long been one of Hogan's harshest critics, often calling him a cancer in wrestling and accusing him of using his backstage influence to hold down younger talent. Their rivalry escalated beyond words when Steiner confronted Hogan's wife about Hogan inducting Macho Man Randy Savage into the WWE Hall of Fame. The confrontation led to a police report being filed and Steiner being banned from the event entirely. The tension surrounding Savage and Hogan runs even deeper, forming one of wrestling's most enduring mysteries. The two shared a complicated relationship built on both partnership and personal conflict. Their famous on-screen feud over Miss Elizabeth reflected real-life drama, with Savage reportedly resenting Hogan for crossing boundaries with Elizabeth and for constantly putting himself at the center of every storyline, even at the expense of his closest allies.
No hesitation, Vince, when Hulk Hogan told me.
Because he heard that they were trying to unionize, and Jesse's body was like, somebody ratted on me. I was wondering who it was.
I wanted to know who ratted me in the locker room.
And, I found out that it was Hulk Hogan. He was my friend.
Because he was my friend.
The racism scandal of 2015 only intensified the criticism Hogan had already been facing, especially from wrestlers of color. MVP openly called Hogan a racist and made it clear that he had no respect or affection for him. Booker T later admitted that his infamous slip during a WCW promo where he accidentally used a racial slur against Hogan actually came from real anger and frustration. Even those who had worked closely with Hogan shared similar sentiments. Eric Bischoff, who had a long professional relationship with him, acknowledged that Hogan disliked working with younger wrestlers like Billy Kidman. The criticism didn't stop at isolated incidents. It grew into broader condemnations of Hogan's character. Matt Osborne described him as arrogant and fake, citing personal conflicts and Hogan's mistreatment of Randy Savage. Wrestling veteran Jim Cornette went even further, blasting Hogan's behavior across WWE, WCW, and TNA, and calling him crazy after his racist remarks came to light.
You should have bobbed instead of weaved on that. It was a pretty nasty black eye. That was shot in the eye, so it was one of those really good black eyes that was pretty obvious when you see it. Like, what happened to you? That doesn't look like makeup. That's for real. It was that Savage and Hogan didn't get along.
Macho Man punched him, beat him up. But I wasn't there, so I don't know. But that was the story going around.
The recurring themes in these criticisms reveal a man whose image as an all-American hero hid deep personal flaws. Wrestlers often accused Hogan of manipulating backstage politics, using his creative control in WCW to protect his status, and leveraging his influence in WWE to avoid losing cleanly. The 2015 racism scandal only confirmed what many in the industry had long suspected, that Hulk Hogan's real character was far removed from the larger-than-life persona seen on television. His habit of making exaggerated or outright false claims further damaged his credibility among his peers. From boasting that he wrestled 400 days in a single year to claiming he was offered a spot in Metallica, or that The Undertaker's piledriver nearly broke his neck, many of Hogan's stories were easily debunked and painted him as dishonest and self-serving. When news of his death broke, the wrestling industry's reaction was noticeably subdued compared to the tributes usually given to fallen legends. While some offered respectful words acknowledging his impact, decades of criticism from fellow wrestlers underscored a legacy filled with ego, manipulation, and controversy that stretched far beyond a single recording in 2007. Yet, despite the scandals and bitter memories, many within the wrestling world still chose to honor Hogan's memory and recognize his undeniable role in shaping professional wrestling into the global spectacle it became. The tributes from WWE superstars, colleagues, and figures from the entertainment world reflected the complicated challenge of separating Hulk Hogan, the performer, from Terry Bollea, the man, and showed that professional respect for his legacy still existed despite personal controversies. WWE's official response was swift and elaborate, featuring a 10-bell salute and a special tribute episode on the July 25th, 2025 edition of SmackDown. The same company that had once erased Hogan from its history now hailed him as one of pop culture's most recognizable icons, crediting him with helping WWE achieve global fame in the 1980s. The most heartfelt tribute came from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whose emotional Instagram post revealed just how deeply Hogan had influenced his life. Johnson shared a story from 1984 when, as a 12-year-old, he caught Hogan's headband at Madison Square Garden and returned it to him after the match. Hogan had told the young Rock that it was his last headband and that, without it, he wouldn't have been able to have another one made. Johnson recalled how happy and grateful Hogan was in that moment, a memory that showed how, beyond the fame and controversy, Hogan had a genuine ability to create lasting personal connections with his fans.
I am all for people getting what they deserve. That's how I feel about Hulk Hogan getting booed on. If you are getting booed by the masses, there's a reason for it, all right? So I don't know if Hulk fully understands the scope, but people get what they deserve, so I'm happy to see it. I love this.
Glenn Kane Jacobs, now serving as the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, offered a perspective that connected the world of wrestling with mainstream culture. He reflected on how Hogan's larger-than-life persona helped professional wrestling break into the global spotlight, turning it from a niche sport into a cultural phenomenon. Jacobs emphasized that while Hogan's personal controversies couldn't be ignored, his influence on wrestling's popularity and his role in shaping its golden era were undeniable.
I'm a What's up, man? Tonight's night. The very last night. You and The Rock have a shot at the NWO. We were drafted on SmackDown, they were drafted on Raw. Tonight's the very last night we have a shot to whoop their candy.
Jacobs emphasized that Hogan's influence on professional wrestling was nothing short of transformative. He credited Hogan with turning the sport into a global entertainment powerhouse, inspiring generations of wrestlers and helping bridge the gap between wrestling and mainstream pop culture.
One of my most fond memories was the first time I ever saw him in person. I was not actually in the ring. It was before I got into wrestling. I was at a WWE show in St. Louis, Missouri at the Checkerdome. And when Hulk Hogan came out, he was in the main event, the roof just blew off the place. And that's when I decided, man, I would really like to be a professional wrestler, because at the center of all that energy and everything was just amazing to me.
Perhaps the most touching tribute came from Mick Foley, whose history with Hogan had been marked by tension and past disagreements. Despite their differences, Foley spoke with genuine emotion, acknowledging that while they hadn't always seen eye to eye, Hogan's contributions to wrestling were immense and unforgettable. He described Hogan as a figure who inspired countless fans and performers alike, admitting that the industry simply wouldn't have been the same without him.
Well, for me, he really took WWE to the next level and made it what it is today. So for someone like me, that opened up a lot of opportunities. I think that virtually every person around my age, a little younger, a little older, Hulk Hogan was professional wrestling and always will.
Sergeant Slaughter, despite their iconic rivalry inside the ring, offered what was perhaps the most personal tribute of all. He spoke of Hogan not as an opponent, but as a friend and brother in the business, recalling the countless moments they shared both in and out of the spotlight. Slaughter reflected on how their battles had defined an era, and how, beneath the showmanship, there was genuine respect and camaraderie that only those who lived the wrestling life could truly understand.
Well, I was almost shocked because he was one of those guys who was larger than life. You just assumed, and he didn't appear to age. So you never thought that the last time you saw Hulk Hogan would be the final time you saw Hulk Hogan.
The tribute also shed light on Hogan's positive influence behind the scenes, revealing how he had personally requested Sergeant Slaughter's return for WrestleMania 7. Hogan recognized the powerful chemistry they shared in the ring and understood the huge potential their rivalry had to captivate audiences and generate massive success for the company. It was a gesture that highlighted Hogan's business instincts and his ability to see the bigger picture when it came to creating unforgettable wrestling moments.
Later, one day, Hulk Hogan and I were on the same plane together. We hadn't locked horns yet. And we were on opposite aisles, and he says out of the side of his mouth, "Hey, good to see you back." And I, side of my mouth, I said, "Good to be back." He said, "I told Vince I wanted you back." I said, "What? What?" And he said, "Yeah, I told Vince to bring it."
Vince McMahon's tribute carried special weight, given the turbulent history between the two men, including Hogan's testimony against him during the 1990s steroid trial. Despite their past conflicts, McMahon honored Hogan as the greatest WWE superstar of all time, praising him as a trailblazer and a global phenomenon whose charisma helped shape wrestling into what it is today. Triple H, WWE's chief content officer, also highlighted Hogan's extraordinary influence, saying that whether he wore the red and yellow or the black and white of the NWO, he was simply iconic. According to Triple H, Hogan transcended wrestling itself, lifting the entire business to heights it had never reached before across every country and continent. John Cena's tribute was simple yet powerful. He posted an image of Hogan's unforgettable WrestleMania 3 showdown with Andre the Giant, captioned, "R.I.P. Legend." Ric Flair's message was deeply emotional, reflecting their decades-long friendship. He wrote, "I'm absolutely shocked to hear about the passing of my close friend, Hulk Hogan. Hulk has been by my side since we started in the wrestling business," and went on to recall moments when Hogan supported him through his near-death experience 8 years earlier, and even helped financially after the tragic loss of Flair's son, Reed. Charlotte Flair echoed her father's heartfelt message, remembering, "When I nearly lost my dad 8 years ago, one of the few people who was there through it all was Hulk Hogan. My heart breaks for Nick and Brooke. Rest in peace, brother." The wrestling industry's elder statesmen also came forward to honor Hogan's memory. The Undertaker wrote, "The wrestling world has lost a true legend. His contributions to our business are immeasurable, and for that, I am deeply appreciative." Shawn Michaels echoed that sentiment, describing Hogan as a legend, a larger-than-life presence, adding that he didn't just work in the wrestling business, he transformed it forever. Chris Jericho offered a thoughtful perspective from someone who had seen both sides of Hogan's career, sharing, "When I started in WCW, I had the pleasure of meeting one of my childhood heroes. Years later in WWE, I got to have fun with him entertaining millions, the same way he once entertained me. Thank you for everything. Hulkster, you paved the way for all of us. The Miz captured Hogan's generational impact with his tribute, writing, "When I was a kid, I ate my vitamins and said my prayers because Hulk Hogan told me to. He was someone I looked up to, a larger-than-life presence I copied constantly growing up. The voice, the flexing, the charisma. He made you want to be bold, loud, and confident. Even Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Hogan's lifelong friend, expressed a mix of grief and regret. Through the good times and the bad, I always loved my brother Terry," he wrote. "I'm devastated by the loss of my friend. I only wish we'd had the chance to mend our broken friendship before his passing."
Well, thank you very much, Hulk Hogan. You're up in heaven now. I want that rematch for WrestleMania 7. You told me face to face, and you told the whole world that I really won that match. So get ready, Hulk. I'm not ready yet, but I'll be there soon.
The tributes reflected the complex nature of Hulk Hogan's legacy, with many wrestlers focusing on his professional achievements rather than his controversies, acknowledging his unmatched influence on wrestling and pop culture. Jake, the Snake Roberts, captured the sentiment best, saying, "It's hard to put into words what Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea meant to professional wrestling and entertainment. He may be gone, but his memory and legacy will live forever." Meanwhile, the silence from critics like CM Punk and Bret Hart spoke volumes about the lasting impact of Hogan's controversial past. Beyond wrestling, Sylvester Stallone praised Hogan's charisma and presence in Rocky III, while Donald Trump called him a great friend and MAGA all the way, referencing his 2024 Republican National Convention speech. Most notably, WWE, the same company that once erased him from its history, honored him with a 10-bell salute, tribute show and special programming, recognizing that despite the scandals, Hulk Hogan's influence on the sport and entertainment, industry remained monumental. This institutional forgiveness reflected both the passage of time and the recognition that Hogan's contributions to WWE's success were too significant to ignore permanently. The medical circumstances of his death also provided important context for the outpouring of tributes. According to the Clearwater Police Department, Hogan suffered cardiac arrest at his home, with first responders attempting to revive him for approximately 30 minutes before transporting him to Morton Plant Hospital. Major Nate Burnside confirmed there were no signs of foul play or suspicious activity. Hogan's health had been declining in the months leading up to his passing. Following a major 4-level spinal surgery in May 2025 and more than 25 operations over the past decade due to wrestling-related injuries. For many black wrestling fans, his death marked both an ending and a beginning. An end to the expectation of mourning a man whose words had caused real pain, and the start of a more honest conversation about the heroes and role models the wrestling world chooses to elevate. In death, as in life, Hulk Hogan remains a deeply polarizing figure, embodying both the triumphs and contradictions of professional wrestling itself. Yet perhaps that is his final legacy, forcing the industry to confront uncomfortable truths and evolve beyond the myths it once celebrated.